Mel Sutcliffe, CEO of Quanta Capital, bought the Avon Re in Blessington in 2017 and went on to buy Kipure Estate in January of 2020. Immediately, work started on the site at Kipure, where a number of structures were built. The first of these structures being built by the Big Red Barn Company. It was a large structure intended to hold weddings. This building had no planning approval. In March of 2020, COVID restrictions were imposed throughout the country. Yet despite restrictions, construction and development continued on the estate. To date, there are over 65 structures built, which includes apartments, houses, and even includes a church built on the bank of the River Liffey. Joe Crystal is chair of the Quanta Capital Board. He is also a barrister in law. His father was also a lecturer with the Law Society of Ireland. Given these positions as both chair of the Quanta Board and in his legal profession, one would assume he understands the law. It seems Joe has failed in his duties and is in breach of Companies Law Act of 2014 in relation to the illegal development at Kipure. Next up is John Tierney. Tierney is a member of the advisory board of Quanta Capital. Tierney served as CEO of Fingal County Council, Dublin City Council, and most controversially as CEO of Irish Water, where he wasted millions of taxpayers' money on legal advice and bureaucracy. His career in Fingal County Council also coincided with the election of Leo Varadkar to Fingal County Council. Another infamous name to come through Fingal County Council is the current Minister for Integration and Children, Roderick O'Gorman. Not only is Tierney linked to these two senior politicians, but also the current CEO of Wicklow County Council, Emer O'Gorman, formerly of Fingal County Council. Next from the Quanta Capital Board is Linda Hickey, and probably the most interesting of all board members. Linda Hickey is a director of a number of boards, including Cairn Homes. The significance here comes from a site in Carrick Mines where Mel Sutcliffe's Zenco Development sought planning on a site and was refused. Cairn Homes recently applied for permission at the same address and were also refused planning. Cairn Homes is a significant player in the political spectrum and how things are playing out on the ground in the West Wicklow town of Blessington, but we'll come back to that. Linda Hickey is also on the board of Powers Court Group, and here is where things get interesting. The Powers Court Group is specialized in political mediation and corporate lobbying on behalf of business interests. This group operates under the umbrella of Saadali & Co. Saadali & Co. are global and significant in global investments and political affairs. Here we see Saadali's involvement with African banking, Chinese New World development, and notably the Ukrainian banking system. Saadali is owned by TPG Growth, an American investment fund owned by Bill McGlashan. McGlashan was investigated by FBI for bribery in 2019 and was given a 3-month sentence and a $250,000 fine. His notable involvement in the pharmaceutical industry and the World Economic Forum certainly makes for interesting thinking about the involvement in the immigration crisis in Ireland. Even more curiously, McGlashan's involvement in the RISE Fund, supported by Bono, strives to achieve sustainable development goals of the United Nations. Also, Bono has recently received backlash from his involvement with Israeli company, which also supports the Israeli military. So back to the small town of Blessington, and how have things been working out for Linda and the Powers Court Group on the ground? Well, as we know, they're heavily involved in the healthcare industry, and Blessington is a shining example of this with the famous Dr. Ray Power. That's right, the same Ray Power who gave Leo Varadkar political donations that were falsely declared. This same primary health center was officially opened by Simon Harris. Not only that, but the owner of this property is the public relations officer for the town forum, whom liaise with developers in relation to town planning. Developers such as Cairn Homes, who also happen to be involved in one of the largest ever developments in the area. Simon Harris has stated he has a master plan for the Blessington area and seems to have keen interest in the area, or is his interest in selling us to the vultures who seem to be taking over? It seems the little town of Blessington has become the Irish Ozarks. In the next episode, we'll delve a little deeper into some of the players on the ground and how they function within this corruption and deception of rule of law.